Okay, so we're talking about quadratic equations in factored form. So as we did with the vertex form, where we had to find an equation of the quadratic function in vertex form, we're going to do the same thing, but now in factored form. Okay, recall that the factored form is y equals a x minus r times x minus s, where r and s are your zeros. Okay, so it's similar to what we have done with the vertex form, where we have to plug in the vertex form, we have to plug in the vertex and plug in another point to solve for a. In the factored form, we have to plug in the zeros and then plug in another point to solve for a. Okay, so in order for me to be able to do the factored form, I have to know my zeros. Okay, so I have this parabola right here, right? And I can tell what the zeros are, right? So the zeros are -1. And they gave me another point at 0, 6. I could also use the vertex if it's clear, but it's not very clear here. This point is more clear. Okay, so I'm going to have to use that specific point that they give me. So how do I do this? First, you're going to write your general form, which is the one on the top, which is y equals ax minus r minus s. And then in the general form, you are going to plug in your zeros. Okay, so we said that the zeros are -3 and 1. Okay, so for r, I am going to plug in -3. So what happens when I plug in -3? It becomes +3, right? Because -3 and a negative, that makes it a positive. Okay, how about for the 1? It's x minus 1. Okay, and we know that because we know that the 0, if I'm looking at this and I want to find my zeros are going to be -3 and 1, right? Good. Now I know my zeros, I know everything. The only thing that I still have to solve for is a, right? So if I look at the point that they gave me, right, I have the x and y, right? I plug in this in the x and the y and I solve for a, as I did earlier in the vertex form. Same idea. So x is 0, y is 6 equals to a 0 plus 3, 0 minus 1. So that gives me 6 equals to a 3 times -1. So that's 6 equals -3a. And then what do I do now? Divide by -3 to solve for a. So a is -2. Now, the last step is I write my whole equation with y equals -2, x plus 3, x minus 1. Are you guys okay with this? Are we okay with this?